Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome back to The Misunderstood Show. Today we have an awesome special guest. I'm very excited. We have Ferris with Ferris Realty, and he also has his own YouTube and podcast and video and all kind. You're all over the place.
All over the place, but
social media.
We don't have a studio like this though, Keith. We probably need to get one of those. We got our videographer here filming, so.
Yeah, Dick can probably help you out and give you some tips. He's a pretty awesome guy. He's pretty helpful.
13 years, sounds like it.
I came here because he does all the work and I just show up.
I like to set most of my life up in that manner.
Yeah, we have to do, other things. You have to have people. I kind of what I like to say is I let people who specialize in their job. I'm not trying to specialize in everybody's job, right?
No.
We can't do that. I've tried to do that in the past where I try to do everything myself. And I realized really quick, you're never going to be really good at something if you don't start getting help.
You kind of have to start out that way. Like that's how I started out.
You
try everything and then you figure out what works and then
or what you're good at.
Hopefully, it takes money. So like once you start making money, that's when it gets fun because then you're like, oh, I can pay for that. Like I don't have to grind that out anymore. Oh, I can pay for that too.
Yeah.
And then if you do it in a way where it all makes money, then you're like, oh, this is really great.
Right.
I'm going to keep doing this forever.
I'm a volunteer here.
Okay.
I don't get paid, and I don't pay Dick, but it's a mutual relationship of trying to help the community and
that's good to
help
know.
support small businesses. And
I might learn how you enroll people to work for free, like my guy over here, who I'm paying to video
He's like, no.
as we speak.
I love his shirt, by the way.
He just got it for his birthday.
Happy birthday!
What are we talking today?
So today we're talking about you, and we're moving to Texas and all your stuff that you post. You help people move to Houston area, and making moves with Kyler. I just feel like you're making moves. You're helping people move, and you're making moves. You just started your new office. Y'all have a new office. I've been in that building. It's amazing inside.
Thanks.
The mural on the wall is absolutely gorgeous, and it's a showstopper.
That was the goal.
Yeah, I love it.
That was the goal. Yeah, so I'm from Conroe, so I'm fifth generation Conroe. My family's been here forever, and I think deep down, maybe subconsciously, I always wanted to own a part of Conroe, and then maybe it started to materialize a year or two ago as I started my business. I was like, man, it would be really cool if we could find a building, but as you know, finding a building in downtown Conroe, not only is it expensive, they trade off market, they don't come up for sale, it's about who you know, which luckily I probably have that going for me, but I don't really play the game, necessary to get
have
those.
Some guys.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, and I'm sure I could make some phone calls, but I just, I was like, all right, well, if it comes up, it comes up, and then sure enough, I just had, we were talking before we went live about these weird urges, whatever you want to call them, the universe, God, where you're like, I have to do this. And it was 9 p.m. at night, and I just got hit with this wave. I was like, get up, go look online. I'm residential. Typically, I'm on the MLS. I went, looked at the commercial. I think it was LoopNet. I found some properties. I was like, that could work, but it didn't look near as nice as it does now.
Right.
And it wasn't for sale.
It was
for
run
lease.
down.
So I went the next morning. I drove it, called the number on the sign. The owner called me back. He was my age, young guy, moving and shaking. And he's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you. I was like, all right, let's come up with a price. Bought it later that week, and then said, I want to give a gift back to Conroe. I was like, what could we do? This is like perfect. It's at the exact intersection that I would want a building. If you could drop a pin in the middle of Conroe.
It's like where the road kind of splits,
it literally
so it's like
is
right in your face.
At West Davis 105 in Fraser. So yeah, I was like, how can we do a mural? And, at first I was like, it's tough to please everybody. I'm kind of past that in my life. I was like, I'm going to do something. My heart is it's a gift to Conroe. What can it say? It's We Heart Conroe, something cool. But so far, everybody's loved it. So
yeah.
If you don't love it, don't reach out. I don't want to hear about it.
Well, I think it's amazing. I love art like that. Have you been to Miami?
Yeah, like Brickell.
Yeah, they have that art district where everything's
Yeah.
painted like that. I took my kids and they just thought this is so cool. Why don't we do this everywhere? And I'm like, I agree. Everything's so
it costs
boring.
money. That was the other part. So
Oh, well, Dick wants to do it in here. I think he was going to ask. Did he ask you?
no, but
About
you
your guy?
you could do your studio, but your wall for a really good guy is probably going to cost you a couple grand. So
Yeah, we figured.
So I hired the Astros muralist. So he's got the exclusive rights to do all the Astros, Texans, all that. And I don't know. I just found his stuff online, DeLeon Arts, if you're looking for somebody. But really cool guy. He did a great job, I thought. I probably am a control freak, as my video team will tell you. I'm used to iterating artwork for our thumbnails for our YouTube channel, so I don't think he was expecting somebody to be as like involved as me.
Right.
So at first he didn't like it, but I was like, hey, that's not what I want. So
Well, it's
I had to pay a little bit more.
It's your baby.
Yeah,
I'm like that
I got
too.
invoiced for the changes, but I'm happy with how
For
it came out. And
sure.
I didn't want to put something up I wasn't proud of. So
For sure. I'm the same way. I'm very like my logo that I made for the show,
how long did that take?
a month.
Oh,
Back and forth just for a logo, that one little round logo with my face on it. But I was very particular about every little single detail in it. One little line here, one little space here, and the coloring. And I just wanted to make sure it was my colors. I wanted neutral colors. My car is brown. Her name's Brownie. I've had her for a very long time. I plan on keeping her for a very long time. She's a Tahoe. And I want to keep her
what
in
year?
2013.
I feel like the Tahoe, if you're gonna like ride out a car, like kind of like an 06 through 13 Tahoe is like great. My dad had one
They
for
are.
150,000 miles.
Great engine.
Yeah.
The newer ones in 2014, they changed the motor. They're trying to make them more gas efficient. And they are more gas efficient, but they have a lot of problems. And they have transmission issues. And
So you got Brownie.
they have a lot more technical stuff in them, where mine's still, manual hatch. And I love it because I can open the hatch in the garage. It doesn't like want to keep going up, or if you just want to open it a little bit.
My wife's will crash into the. I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about. I backed into our garage door. I'm not very like ditzy like that, but I was in a rush and it was already open, so I clicked the button and it was coming down as I backed out. That was fun.
Yeah. So I like the manual. She's got things I needed. At the time, we had a DVD player and a CD player, and we thought this was so
obsolete.
The wood
in like a year.
grain
Yeah.
and black leather, and the kids can't stain it, and it's been very durable. With all these kids in there, there's ketchup on the ceiling and some broken plastic and stuff on the seats, but she's a good car. Paint's fading.
When are you upgrading? Are you going to?
So my plan, if I can get her to last another 200,000 miles.
Another 200,000 miles?
She's got 230 on her.
Most people don't even shoot for that.
I would like to get 400. My grandpa had a truck. He got 400 and something thousand miles out of his
I
truck.
feel like if it's a diesel, maybe, but that's kind of
His was a he had a 350 in his, and then he switched it to a 454. But it was a 350 V8. But you can if you maintain it well, you keep the maintenance done, you can get a lot of miles out of these motors. But you have to do the maintenance. You have to take care of it. You can't drive it like a go-kart. You probably shouldn't let your kids drive it, But I would like to keep it long enough I can afford to buy like my dream car,
What is that?
like a 71 Mach or something.
Oh, so you're going back. You're not going forward.
Yeah, I don't really like new cars.
Really?
I'm not a new car girl.
Not an
we go
old
to
car
car
person at all.
shows. We're car people.
Okay. My
Yeah.
grandfather was a car person. I feel like
Yeah.
that was in his blood. My dad's a car guy. He has a 60, don't let me make this up, a 67 or 68 Mustang, like California Classic. Something
Is
like
it
that.
like is it a fastback?
Yeah.
It has like the fins on it.
Maybe. Like I said, I don't care. I'm happy for him. You know what I was proud of him for?
I want to meet your dad.
Well, so what I'm proud of him for.
Does he still live here?
No, he's in Dallas. But
Okay.
so my whole mom's side's from here. So my mom's. Well, we could go a bunch of different directions. My mom's dad, who's my grandfather, Buddy, he still runs Nixon Mobile Homes here in Conroe. He's had it out on the East Loop for 60 years. He owns 105 in the East Loop. So they're there. His dad owned the Lounge here in Conroe back in like the 40s,
Okay.
which is La Puerta Negra right next to La Palma Taqueria.
Okay.
So that sports bar, that was the Lounge back in Conroe back in the day. It has like no windows. They called him Two-Arm Tommy because he always carried two Smith & Wesson 38 specials in his jacket. And
Gangster.
Then he was. Well, he wasn't. His brother Jack was top 10 America's Most Wanted bank robber. So I have all this cool family heirlooms.
So you're like Joe Rogan.
He's
how
been
he talks about like
he's been in shootouts here.
this
Well, so here's where it comes full circle. I actually,
mafia
if we're
family.
gonna put this out in the public airwaves, I feel like this is probably a cool thing to talk about. So where we bought our building, talk about coming full circle and just like fate.
right.
So my great grandfather Tom Nixon, who owned the lounge, everyone in Conroe knew who he was. For better, he was just polarizing. He didn't give anybody trouble, but if you gave him trouble, good luck. And he ran the lounge. He's always kicking drunks out of his bar. Could have been a cop, could have been a bad guy. Didn't matter. Like if they misbehaved, they're getting kicked out. And so somebody came through town and was like, "Hey, can I get a ride?" And they asked one of his female bartenders. He's like, "I got you. Let me grab my coat." Well, everyone that knows Tom knows he gets his coat and he's got his 238 specials there. Well, this guy wasn't from here. Gets in his car, starts driving down down Fraser, headed kind of from headed north, and he's coming up on West Davis, which is where my building is.
Right.
The guy has him at gunpoint. Well, just like you'd see in a movie, my great grandfather's buckled in. The guy's not. He swerves the last minute, hits the light pole or whatever street telephone pole, whatever pole was at that intersection. Other guy just smashes into the glove box. Tom rolls out, shoots him with his 38 special. Cops show up. I don't know if the guy dies. I've never actually asked that. But anyways, I inherited the 38 special that shot him with his initials engraved in it.
Cool.
And I have the write-up in Detective Magazine. There's a full write-up on the whole story. And so I have both of those passed down to me. And then that was all before. And then now I own the building on the corner.
Are you a gun guy?
Of that intersection. Yeah. I don't know how much I want to talk about that on this, but I just bought a couple guns.
Okay.
So I think I have 19.
We're kind of gun people. We're mostly like hunters, but we like to hunt.
Yeah, about
we also like to be safe.
About half of my guns are like hand-me-down hunting rifles, and then the other half are just like completely non-necessary, like
Fun guns.
overly. Yeah, like I saw the Jurassic Park, the 4570 Marlin that's like gray that Chris Pratt had in Jurassic Park. So I bought that. I got.
That's a real gun.
It's a real gun. It's an elephant gun, pretty much.
I don't know that much about guns.
I'm not like a super gun nerd. I just was like, once.
That's cool that you have all these guns from your family, though.
Well, that my favorite gun would be his. And what's funny, I did my concealed carry class, and I could have brought like a Glock or something that shot good. I used that to pass my shooting test, which
That's
is
way cool.
Well, it's the least accurate gun ever. I was waiting
yeah.
for it to just explode in my hand.
I got my LTC with the Taurus,
Okay.
9mm, and it wasn't very accurate either, and it misfired a lot. So I got rid of it, and I bought me we talked about this before. It's a 9mm Hellcat Smithfield.
Like I said, I'm not a super gun
It's a
nut.
cool
I
little
only know the
gun.
guns I have.
It's like desert storm color, so
I like it. Or
I would
what is
wear it with,
flat
like-
dark earth or something like
well,
that.
that way because I wear dresses and I could wear like a leg.
The
thing.
black won't shine through.
Yeah, because I want to be
Stay
discreet.
strapped, yeah.
But I was out in the country, in the hill country, showing houses, and I owned a landscape business, and I was out on job sites with a bunch of men by myself, and
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. So
I'd probably stay strapped if I'm a woman.
yeah, it's dangerous out there. Now I just carry mace because I'm not like really out in those type of areas. I'm just like going to my car and in the city now, but I just carry mace. But my husband carries my gun now because he works in Jersey Village.
Oh,
and
there you go.
he says a little sketchy down there. And there's some areas he drives through. He's like, I don't feel very safe down here. So he's from West Texas. So Houston is very different for him.
There's a lot of stimulus. There's a lot going on. You gotta keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
So you had brought it up. We help a lot of people relocate here to Houston, and I think like crime and all that comes up. And like I think generally like I've never been affected by it, thankfully, or at least violent crime, theft and stuff. I think happens
I think it's
everywhere.
in like small little areas.
But what I would say is like the suburbs have been great because
Yeah.
we run a channel called Living in Houston, Texas. We make content for people from out of state that are just typing in where should I move, and our videos organically rank #1 for a lot of the suburbs. If you type in the Woodlands, Texas, or Conroe, Texas, Magnolia, Montgomery, even as far as Katy or Missouri, we cover the whole city. I think because I live up here, there's a little more emphasis up north, but we sell everywhere, all the way down to Galveston. We also have a team up in Dallas now too, so we have a separate channel up there that's doing really well.
we have a bunch of offices up there.
Y'all
That's
do?
where our main office
Oh,
is.
okay.
That's where we started.
I'll connect y'all with our team up there. Smaller team up there, but basically, yeah, we're getting anywhere from 100 to 150 people reach out a month organically through YouTube just from our videos.
Right.
Looking to move here to the area, so we'll we'll close about 350 home transactions this year, and 175 of those are directly from YouTube, which is crazy.
Right.
So
tell us, how did you get into that? Because I saw that you went to A&M, you have a finance degree.
Yeah.
And then you went into real estate, which kind of goes the same. It's like Roger Krager. He went to A&M for finance, and then he became a musician. You're like, so, hey, have you ever heard his song, I Got the Guns?
No, but maybe now it's my theme song.
It's about his inheriting his grandpa's guns.
Right.
You should listen to it.
Okay, yeah, so you want me to just start at why I ended up at A&M?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just your story.
Well, I'm from here, like I said. I went to the Woodlands Christian Academy, but I lived in Conroe. So I kind of was in both worlds. I knew all the Conroe kids, but I also knew all the Woodlands kids, so kind of a social chameleon. Didn't think I was going to get into A&M because private schools don't rank, and so I couldn't rely on that top 10% automatic acceptance. Fast forward, I was on a mother-son trip to Durango, Colorado, saw this small little school there. It was beautiful in the summertime. I was like, this is cool. It's called Fort Lewis. I wasn't thinking what the network is going to be like or what the degree. I'm just like, this is a gorgeous place and there's a college here. That'll do, right? And so I applied to A&M not thinking I would get in. And then fast forward, it was February, my senior year, and I go to Hunan right in front of Academy with my whole family. That was like our family spot. I thought we were just doing family dinner to hang out with my grandparents, and then they bring out a little to-go box, and it's a little Chinese to-go box, and it has a letter in it, and it's like, congrats, you got into A&M. And right at that time, and I already decided I'm going to Fort Lewis and Durango. So then my stepdad at the time brings out this bag of $200 worth of A&M memorabilia, like car flags, magnets, everything. And so I'm like, oh, wow, cool, guys, thanks. And then that night, I remember getting home. I think I'd already taken the tag off the hat. And at this time, I don't know what to say to my family because I'm not going to A&M. But I'm sitting there and I had no concept of money at the time. I grew up. My mom did a great job of raising me with money's a dollar's a dollar, respect a dollar, this cost somebody's work. I had to work for everything growing up. And so I was like, this is $200 worth of stuff. I can't ask him to return this.
Right.
So I guess I'm going to A&M. And literally, as dumb as that sounds, it kind of weighed on me for a week or two, but I didn't want to, I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go check it out again. And anyways, best decision I ever made at that point in my life. And then went to A&M, kind of always thought I wanted to be a pastor growing up. I was really involved in our church. I love people. And so I wasn't really money driven or career driven.
Right.
I was just people driven.
Purpose driven.
People driven. I loved people, and I thought if I could make an impact on people, which ideally is the goal of the church, right? Or a pastor. And so I was like, all right, that's what I'll do. And then sophomore year, I ended up on this. Well, my story is of always finding a way to end up in the right room. That's my whole story. Even to this day, I always find a way to do just enough to get that next opportunity. So I got into A&M all because I think I asked the right girl to homecoming, and her dad was the dean of the business school at U of H, and he wrote my letter of rec. I didn't know that. So it was always just, Reagan was super cool. Nobody had asked her yet. I was like, I'm not trying to go with somebody that I'm hitting on or anything. Let's just all go have fun. I invited her in front of the whole school at homecoming or the week before.
Right.
Whatever it was. And anyways, took her to homecoming. And so I got in. And then I found myself on this leadership conference. And I looked around in the room, and all the kids that were in there, they only picked 50 at A&M. I was like, these are really driven, motivated people. But I'm in the room. I always felt like an outcast, but I kept finding myself in. I was like, this is really weird. Maybe I'll take this seriously. And I heard, guys that ran hedge funds that went to Harvard talking about how they're able to have an impact on people's lives, in business. And I was like, okay, well, I haven't even thought about that. And then, so I kept finding myself in these rooms, and I was like, well, I don't want to work for anybody if I'm ever going to start something. I want to be an entrepreneur. Well, they started Startup Aggieland right at that time, which was an accelerator for student businesses. And it was the first time I got immediately adopted by all of this faculty, and then they put me as the face of their program, and I ended up in a pitch contest for a shorts company I was starting, and Silicon Valley Bank sponsored it, and there was 4 multimillionaires and a billionaire on stage that I got to pitch in front of. I came in second. I didn't win because I was pitching shorts versus some dude with a really good idea. So I had fanny pack shorts. It was I'll tell you about them later, but So
That's
fast forward,
interesting.
yeah, they're these like, they're shorts. They're actually still really cool. I own them. I've had multiple people be like, hey, can we make those? But basically they're a pair of shorts made out of like nylon ripstop that have a fanny pack attached that you can like fold up and hide, or you can actually reverse them into the fanny pack. And they got the little belt for the fanny and for the shorts. So they're pretty cool. They're like festival shorts, like a grab and go pair. Anyways, I got sucked into that. And then whenever I was going to graduate, everyone's getting all their jobs. And I'm like, oh, well, like, I don't really want to like go work for anybody. What am I going to do? And so I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so out of that program, there were these guys that owned this really huge nutraceutical company worth hundreds of millions of dollars that were like, hey, we started this technology accelerator where we're investing in startup companies. We need an associate. Do you want to do it? And so I was like, yeah. They're like, it's only a summer job. It's 100 days. But I was like, well, that'll at least show me if I'm going to be an entrepreneur on the founder side, if I'm going to be an investor working for a family office, or if I'm going to be, an associate for a program like this.
Right.
Went and did that, added a lot of value. There were 4 of us, and they said after the first week, we're going to put one of you in charge of the others. Same thing. I was like, all right, I guess I got to be in charge. So I figured it out. I got picked for that. Then from there,
People must see something in you that you're not seeing in yourself.
no, I see it now. I guess the main thing was like I did have a belief that like I think it came from like living in Conroe and going to a private school in the Woodlands. I kind of felt like I wasn't truly like a Conroe kid because I didn't go to Conroe High, but I also didn't feel like I was truly like one of these Woodlands kids because like we didn't have
Live
all
in
the
the
money
Woodlands.
and live in the Woodlands, and so I don't know why I guess I just viewed it as like and I'm a pretty positive person, but I guess I viewed it as glass half empty. Whereas what I didn't realize is I'm actually one of the few people that's in both.
Right.
I'm accepted in both places. And now that I realize that, that's like a huge strength as an adult. But it took me a long time to unlearn that. People operate with these, child frameworks they don't realize are there. And one of mine was that like you're an outsider, which is like the furthest thing from the truth. And I don't know if I'm an insider either. I think the whole framework's messed up. I think you are you, and you get to decide your destiny and where you end up, in the rooms you
Right.
put. It's what position do you put yourself in. And so anyways, fast forward, that program ended, and I got 2 offers. Well, actually, the day I accepted an offer for that program as I was graduating, talk about timing, we were talking before this happened, I leave the lunch where I accept the associate role as an associate for this accelerator. And I'm still in college, I'm about to graduate. Hadn't spoken to my home church, which I interned with every summer in 9 months. Hadn't spoken to our pastor. I'm driving home. I'm in my car. I left it about 30 minutes before, and I get a phone call from the head pastor, Mark Miller, head of the youth, and he goes, hey, I want you to come back and be our high school pastor. I've been praying about it. I want you to be our high school pastor. And I was just like, Mark, you got to be kidding me.
Mark Miller?
Yeah.
Was he a singer?
No.
I know a Mark Miller.
I was like, I just accepted this 30 minutes ago. He's like, well, pray about it and let me know what you think. I was like, well, I kind of already know what I think. I just accepted it. Like, I'm going to stick with my word. And so he came in, played golf with me, was like, for 4 hours, just grilled me. And this is like my mentor. Like,
Right.
It's really tough to like,
He's trying to pull you.
he's like, it's really tough to argue with a pastor asking you to be a pastor. Like, hey, what's your motive for going off and like doing this in the business world? But at the end of the day, I just like was like, that's where I'm drawn. So he came back like a little bit later. He's like, hey, I talked to Kerry Shook, who's the main pastor. He's like, once the program's over in the summer, we'll still take you after the summer. We want you to be a pastor. And I was like, I still don't know. I was like, I don't know where this is going to lead. And so sure enough, I just stuck. I just trusted, what my heart was telling me, and ended up getting hired to move to Austin and start a family office for one of the investors that had started that program. Coolest job in the world. Moved to Austin. I'm free from A&M. I'm in enemy.
I bet you liked it in Austin better than A&M,
enemy
right?
territory. It's different. A&M's got the best culture and community aspect ever. So I like to appreciate the positives of everywhere I go.
Right.
So A&M, the positive is the people.
Right.
It's not the scenery. I mean, it's not gorgeous there. Austin,
Right.
It's the scenery.
Yes.
You got some
Not the traffic.
Yeah, but there's some craziness in Austin, and I
Yeah.
definitely would say I lean a little more conservative. But one of the things I really appreciated about Austin.
Austin wasn't always like that, though, because I lived in Austin. My dad worked at UT for 25 years.
Okay.
And so I grew up on campus in the
Okay.
80s and 90s, and I went to school there in the early 2000s. And so I loved Austin, and then it changed about the mid 2000s.
And I wouldn't.
all the people
Just
from
going back to the keep Austin
another
weird.
state
Yeah,
moved
yeah,
there.
it's not my fault. I don't recruit there. I recruit here. But
I'm not like mad. I don't like when people come in and make it worse.
but Austin was always keep Austin weird before any
Weird's
influx.
fine, but don't let homeless people live on the street.
And that's totally different. And I was just with a buddy this week that lives there, and he said they've cleaned it back up a little bit.
They have
this past year, which is.
But I have friends who are firemen in Austin,
and it's bad.
And they're like, dude, they just let them
So
do their business in our driveway, and we have to clean it up. And there's needles and all this stuff everywhere, and they're like, we have to clean this up. This is not acceptable. This is
bad.
our property, and we can't kick them out.
I'll skip ahead a little bit and then I'll go back, but
that was like my biggest issue with Austin.
Well,
and that's what's happening in San Francisco now.
Oh, it's been there that way.
Yeah.
It's been, but in Austin, we got to eventually fast forward 2 years. I'd been there, worked for this family office, had the coolest job in the world. But I eventually, this investor, after like 2 years, we had funded a bunch of his companies that I had found for him to invest in, and he's like, "Why don't you start your own thing?" And I was like, "Cool, I have his blessing. He's gonna seed, give us seed capital to start a real estate brokerage." And so we took $300,000. I had found a founder partner, and we started a brokerage. We got an office on 6th Street, which was the coolest thing ever. So I'm 24 years old. I've got a man bun, a motorcycle, and I got $300,000.
I want to see pictures.
I got pictures. Everybody asks. I got them queued up. But anyways, I'm like, all right, let's do this. And there's some blessing about being a naive young entrepreneur where you can only see the end in mind, and you can't see all the work that it's going to take. And that's a good thing in my opinion. So anyways, we get this office on 6th Street. Well, back to what you were saying, I remember being outside on a call one day, just out in front of my office, and this lady just walks up and just passes out. And I had to call 911, and I was like, what is going on? And she literally dies right in front of me. At least that's what I thought. Well, that's what I thought. And sure enough, no, she had just, smoked like K2 or whatever it was, fentanyl or what. Now it wasn't fentanyl at the time, but she just did something. She completely goes unconscious, is like seizing in front of me. And then the firefighters show up. They kind of like give her a little pat, shake her. She stands up. She's completely alive again. And they're like,
because
all right,
they deal with it all
you're
the
good.
time.
And she just walked off. And I was like, you just died in front of me. And so anyways, yeah, Austin had a little bit of a homeless issue, to say the least. But
yeah, that was an issue. We had Katrina happened when I was there, and we had all the refugees from Katrina that were sent there. And these, I have no problem helping people from other places, but they didn't send us
the best
people. They were not educated or trying to help themselves. They were running around causing havoc. They were stealing and tearing up stuff and doing drugs, and it was bad. And when I lived in Austin, I worked downtown. I worked at 7th Street and Red River.
Yeah.
You know where Headhunters is, right there in the corner?
Well, I know 7th and Red River. There's a bunch of music venues over there.
Yeah.
The Arch is right over.
There was a bunch of roller derby girls that would come in there, and they were having problems where the guys cannot like manhandle them or break them up when they would fight. So they were and at the time I was pretty fit. I was pedicabbing. I was actually overweight too at the time. And so I was a big girl. And so they were like, you want to basically
be a bouncer for
I
roller
just
derby
stamped
girls?
people's hands at the door, and they paid me like $15 an hour cash. This was in early 2000s. That was a lot of money to me. I worked an insurance job off and on for 10 years, but I was trying to get out of it. So I was trying to go to college and get out of selling insurance because I didn't like it. Anyway, I would just stand there and stamp hands. And then when they would break out in a fight, I'd go in there and try to break them up. And they liked me, so they would try not to hit me, which was nice. But they didn't want to hit me. They just wanted to hit each other.
I think they had roller derby like on the east side of Austin. Now that I remember when I lived there, but it was outdoors. They had it at like tennis courts maybe or something.
Those girls are vicious.
Yeah,
I
know exactly
vicious,
what you're
but
talking
it's so
about.
entertaining. And
I never went and watched it.
When you get to meet them, they're vicious. Like they're very competitive, but they're actually like really nice. But a lot of them are really nice people. I mean, they're just kind of crazy girls. I don't know. It's different. It's Austin weird for sure. It was, a great experience to be in Austin. I learned a lot about all these different people, and I'm not judgmental. You want to do your thing, that's fine. Just don't hurt others.
Yeah.
As long as you're not bothering other people or affecting other people, I'm totally cool with it. But yeah, that was fun. Quentin Tarantino used to hang out in there.
At the roller derby place?
Well, it was a music place. They would do like open mic night.
What was it called?
It was called Headhunters.
Oh, it was called Headhunters. Okay.
This is like a long time ago, but I don't know if it's still there or not. I haven't been back in a long time, but yeah, Quentin Tarantino used to hang out in there. And one time I was up there talking, and my uncle would film horror films, and he did a little bit of stuff. He did like B films, and he had stuff like Blockbuster, and he worked at Dell and did this on the side. But he had like knew like some like Robert Rodriguez and different people, because they're all in the kind of the same world, you know, that weird horror film world in Austin. They're weird people. They're like vampire type people.
I don't know. It's not my scene. But.
My uncle like wears like a top hat and
Okay, I can see
trench
it.
coat. You know, he's interesting.
Seventh and Red River checks out for that outfit.
I don't know. I don't know how he turned out like that, because like the rest of my family, my aunts and stuff, they're all like teachers, and
We all got them in our family.
I worked at UT. Where's like Eddie Bauer? You know, like totally different. But anyway, yeah, it was interesting to be in that world in Austin. But I loved all the rivers and the trails and
You can't
the
beat the nature there.
outdoors
Yeah.
and the lakes, and you're just always outside, and you know, it's just so beautiful. And back then there wasn't near as much traffic. So I used to, when I was a kid, I roller skated everywhere, and I skateboarded, and I mean, I had a bus pass. I was just going all over the place.
I loved it. The only reason we moved back was just to start a family. I mean, we just didn't.
Yeah.
And then I thought when we moved back here, because I was there about 3-4 years.
Because your family's here.
Yeah, so because my family's from here, after A&M, I'd moved to Austin. I worked for that family office for about 1.5 years, really, not quite 2 years. And it kind of transitioned, I guess, so I kind of overlap them. But about 1.5 years at the family office, had found some good investments for our investor I was working for. But I had the coolest job in the world. I worked like 20 hours a week finding businesses for a guy with money to invest in, and then like putting deals together, and then really just helping those companies as like a resource for the first 6 to 12 months of the investment, to just make sure that, one, we had eyes on what we were investing in, but two, that like I'm just kind of a flex player, and that was really a good,
Kind of like a concierge
it was
type
I
service.
would use a different word, but no, not a concierge. It was more like I was more like a business development like consultant, where because I had done that with the 10 companies we had, more like I was trained in like a lean startup methodology, which is it's a formalized thought process of approaching starting companies,
right,
where basically you disprove assumptions without spending any money, and then you accelerate the time horizon that it takes to actually decide whether or not something's viable, so you can pivot quicker. So it's really just like, I don't know how many people you know that have started businesses that have failed, but there's an easy way to avoid that, and it's thinking about things correctly, not running down rabbit holes with an assumption before disproving it.
Doing research.
You could just do a survey, and you could figure out who your audience
Right.
is now. You could put an A/B test up on an ad now.
Finding a need.
Sure. But a lot of people, you can find a need, and then but like your solution doesn't solve it, or people won't pay for it, or your price is too high. So all these things you can do. So I would come in and help companies figure that out, and just be like a flex player. And but then it was like, why real estate? Well, I had a buddy who had worked for the #1 Keller Williams team in Austin for about a year. He was my age, but he was just kind of one of those guys that like just did what they told him to do, and it worked. Mm-hmm. So after a year, he's like, we can do this. And I was like, well, I got the funding, and I'm going to start a company. I want to get into real estate long term, because my family owns a bunch of real estate. We've got the mobile home dealership. We've got a big real estate portfolio that even to this day I'm not part of, which is the ironic part, because I started that company there about 1.5 years in. Things were going well. We were profitable. I was about 3 weeks out from getting married, and our investor wanted to change. He was 51% owner because he'd put in all the money up front, which is a bad idea. If you're ever starting a company, you can figure it out without money. But anyways, he wanted to change how we got paid back, and my business partner didn't really push back on it because he wasn't getting married in 3 weeks. I was, and I was like, look, I'm just gonna step away. This isn't a good fit. I don't like it. I can't just not get paid for the foreseeable future. And so anyways, I stepped back. That company's still running. I'm still close with my old partner. But that kind of set me off on my own journey, which kind of led me back to Conroe.
Right.
So
what was the plan?
got married.
God's plan.
Well, you see it now. At the time, it was really hard,
Yeah.
right? One of the hardest things I went through was having the person that believed in me the most, pull the rug. But it actually was the best gift I probably ever got.
It forced you.
In my own personal life, because it took away somebody giving me something, and then it kind of set me on a trajectory to realizing like everything in life is within your grasp, but you got to earn it. And so once I realized that, now it's kind of it's great because I'm not waiting for anybody to give me anything the rest of my life. And so, yeah, I just put my head down, moved back here. My business really kicked off about 6
So-
years ago here.
How did you meet your wife?
That's a great story. The day I moved to Austin, it's all connected, but the short version is the day I moved to Austin. Well, let me back up a little. When I was working in College Station for that summer at that accelerator, I went to Austin on a trip with a buddy. And when we were there, we ran into a group of his friends at Barton Springs, right? Talking about outdoor stuff. We love doing outdoor stuff. So we're swimming at Barton Springs. We meet this group of like 10 guys. Well, one of them lived in Austin, and his buddies from San Francisco are visiting. And he was 10 years older. He was an Aggie. He was a consultant. And we ended up, he let us crash at his house that night. And it was one of the coolest houses ever. It was in Barton Hills, right off West Monroe in South
Nice.
First. Brand new house. About 2,000 square foot, 3-bedroom house with a roof deck brand new house, overlooked the skyline. You could walk to Zilker Park. It was so cool. And so whenever I got the job opportunity to move to Austin, like a month later, I texted him. I was like, hey, do you need a roommate? He's like, actually, yeah. He's gone 2 weeks out of the month. I paid $1,000 a month, and I had this house pretty much to myself.
Wow.
And it was a sweet house and a really cool roommate. Well, the day
That's an awesome area.
Great area.
So I went to Zilker Elementary for a little while.
Really?
I grew up
So you
going to
know.
Zilker Park.
So
That's where I was skateboarding and stuff.
So I had the last home in Zilker neighborhood under contract at $500,000, and we terminated it, and I regret it because now it's worth like $3 million.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the day I moved to Austin, I move in with him as soon as I get my stuff settled because I'm a guy. I moved in like an hour. I was like, all right, I'm done. He's like, you want to go grab a beer? And I was like, yeah. I end up meeting my best friend, Keith, my video guy, knows Lance. So I meet him my first night there. He's got his boots on. He's ripping cigarettes in his dirty V-neck, and we're just having a great time. He becomes one of my best friends. Well, he was a ladies' man through and through, just the eternal bachelor in Austin. And I meet him day one. No, I was naive as hell. And anyways, no, I wasn't. And he takes me under his wing. So anywhere we go with him, he just walk up to like flocks of beautiful women and just
talk to him.
Just talk to him. Oh my gosh, I love your hair. That's just so nice.
I have a child like that.
Yeah, well,
scares me.
Good luck. It
Terrifies
should.
me.
Well, if it's anything like this guy, it should absolutely terrify you because he'd go up and talk to anybody. Well, I wasn't with him at this time, but it was a Monday night. He's out at this Motown night right there near Alamo Draft House in South Lamar, and he goes up to these two girls. Yeah, and he goes up to these two girls, ladies, and does this thing. And within about 30 seconds, he's hitting on my now wife, and she goes, "Are you Lance?" And he's like, "Yeah." "How do you know that?" She's like, "You're Reed's brother." And he's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I've already heard about you." Like shuts it down immediately. Just calls him out. She's like, "I've already heard about you." Well, he immediately pivots and starts hitting on her friend. Right? He just all right, cool, fine, sure. Anyways, I'll talk to you. Well, about a month later, he's like, or him and I go out for drinks. He's like, hey, I'm going to meet up with this girl. Well, the girl is the one he started to hit on, but also with Kim. And Kim had a boyfriend at the time who knew his brother. And so anyways, we all hang out. And I was like, hey, I know you got a boyfriend, but, would love to get to know you if we're out, having drinks tonight. And so she just thought that was nice. And we talked the whole night. Everybody went out dancing. We had a good time. I drove everybody home. And then at the very end of the night, like I'm driving, and I was like, why am I driving so fast? And I kind of slow down, and I just like looked at her. I was like, I had a really great time. I was like, if you're ever single, I would love to take you out. And I dropped her off, and then like a month later, I'm RSVP'd to this event for South by Southwest on Facebook, and she's like, hey, are you going to this? And I was like, I am now. There you go. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then the rest is.
And where is she from?
Not history, Florida. So she's a Gator undergrad. She's a pediatric nurse practitioner, so she went to grad school in Colorado. Lived there. She's 5 years older, so she had a little more life on me.
She's 5 years older than you?
I know. I got me a hot cougar.
Wow. I'm older than my husband. Not quite 5 years.
There you go.
But...
Yeah, so 5 years. So I had a lot of growing up to do. I met her when I was 24 with that man bun, starting a company, had no clue what I was doing, completely in over my head. I met a woman, not a girl. I met a woman, and I'm still figuring it out. So, yeah, we're 8 years married, or 8 years together, 2 kids, 4.5, 1.5.
That's awesome.
Things going great so far. We just had our first vacation without kids last week, the whole ever.
Really?
Yeah, our first vacation without kids since we'd had our 4.5-year-old. So.
Oh. Yeah.
It was a nice break. I forgot how much we liked each other.
Yeah, it's hard when kids are little.
Yeah.
It's hard to leave them with people.
She's great. She's great. I'm probably the problem. She's great. So we'll leave it at that.
But they grow up so fast.
I know, they're so cute too. Our little son, like, they don't really wake up till they're like a little over a year. I think as a guy too, you're like off at work and you come home and you're like, okay, I still can't really play with them. Like, I'll hold them for a little bit, but you don't have that bond from like breastfeeding or whatever. But my son,
I miss when I could cuddle with him all the time.
She's weaning now and she's like crying about it. I'm like, I get it, but you don't have that attachment as a guy to your kids. So like,
right.
I'm just now like,
I have a 12-year-old who still wants to sleep with me and hold me. So
that's great. I look forward to that. My daughter and I are super close. She's 4.5, but I'm just saying,
he doesn't listen to this.
I'm just now waking up to the fact that like I have a son. Like, I didn't have a son when he's a baby. Like, that's not a son. That's a baby. Like, he's just now, like...
coming into his own.
Yeah, like cars and Smash. And, I'm like, all right, cool, I got a son. Like, time to rough him up a little bit,
Yeah. You're going to have your hands full.
We do.
We have 4 boys. And, I have stepkids. I have 2 stepsons and my 2 sons. And then we have a stepdaughter. I have a stepdaughter. She's the youngest.
Okay.
But those boys... So my 2 boys are really good friends with his 2 boys, which worked out.
Good.
It's like stepbrothers, So they don't fight. Very rare. It's the blood siblings that fight with each other.
Really?
Yeah, mostly. But yeah, so Kason and Oliver are a year and a half apart, and they, I'm like trying to take a bath, and I'm just relaxed because it's Saturday and I just want to chill out early at 7:30 because that's what you do when you're old on a Saturday night.
Just chill.
I put a TV in my bathroom. And
there you go.
That's the only time I have time to watch.
Yeah, with 5 I can't imagine with 5 kids.
20 minutes of a movie and then 20 minutes. It takes me forever to watch a movie, a month. But they'll be upstairs just wrestling so hard and you think that the ceiling is going to cave in.
Like cracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and our house is it's a really well-made home. It's a 1999 home. It's nice. I mean, you go in some of these homes and you're just like, we won't name names, but the cookie cutter homes.
Sure.
And you walk around and you can feel it.
You put 4 boys upstairs, they're going to break something. Yeah.
But this house, you can't ever hear
where do you live
anybody. The very back, very back of Olden Bridge,
oh, okay.
all the way to
so
almost Egypt.
Okay.
It's very quiet back there. We're kind of hidden, there's only one way in and one way out.
The Woodlands is good about that. It's just like a little...
Yeah, but we're literally at the very end. So there's literally...
Nobody.
I mean, we're past the branch crossing. So it's the end. And then you're in Egypt.
Yeah.
Or Magnolia.
Yeah, don't call it Egypt. It confuses everybody. Everybody coming in from out of town is like, oh, where's this Egypt?
They're like, where do you live?
It's not Egypt, guys. It's Magnolia. It's the Woodlands or it's Magnolia. It's New Mag. It's Old Mag. It's 1488.
It always makes me think of like BFE.
It's not Egypt.
Right? BFE.
I don't know.
You know the
one.
phrase? That's an old person phrase.
You want to
I'll have to tell you later.
Okay. Oh. No, still not what I'm thinking.
I'll have to tell you later.
Okay.
Can't say it on the show. He's like, Karen, stop.
There you go.
But anyway, so boys are just kind of rough. So enjoy him while he's small and cute and sweet.
He's cuddly and cute. And, yeah.
He'll get older and he'll pick on his sister and he'll be mean to her.
But he's the sweet. I know everybody has like the stereotypes, but I think ours might be flipped. Like our daughter has all the like emotions of my wife and then all the energy of me, which is just like, it's like baking soda and vinegar. It's just like it erupts. It's just like 2 characteristics that just when they clash, and then he is just like sweet and chill. He'll just like walk by a beanbag and lay on it. Now I know boys start to get that testosterone and it starts to...
Yeah, because my boys were like best friends forever.
Okay.
I mean, they were attached
until
at the
what
hip.
age? It started
teen.
Like pretty competitive.
When the older one got like in double digits.
Okay.
And then he starts getting the hormones and trying to be cool.
He's trying to figure. Yeah, you go through that whole.
Get away from me when his kids are his
we're
friends
all
are
still
around.
Unlearning that,
When his friends are around, he didn't want to hang out with his little brother.
Yeah, I gotcha.
He wants to be cool. He's starting to grow out of that now, which is nice because they get in the later teens. They start to realize that
hey, that's stupid. Yeah.
You're just mean.
Yeah. It's not cool to be mean. Yeah.
It's not cool to be mean. They do grow out of it, but
get your braces off.
There's like 5 years that you're just like, oh,
I don't know. We're way off from that, I hope. But
the hormones, like 1 minute they're just like, and then the next minute they're like, oh, and you're
the boys.
Like, are you bipolar? what's wrong? You know, like flipping out because one of the kids ate his chicken nugget. I mean, it's just, you know, when I eat really fast. I try not to eat fast, but growing up, I had 4 brothers as well.
You got to get it in or it's gone.
I had to eat fast or they'd be stealing stuff off my plate or you wouldn't get seconds or whatever. And so I eat real fast and I just tell them, I'm like, eat faster. Don't get up from the table.
I think it's
and
good.
go
You get a little
wander off
it's
somewhere.
tough right now. We neither of ours want to eat. It just takes like an hour to feed them. We have
Yeah,
to
they're
force
little.
it. Yeah.
They'll eat when they're hungry. That's what the doctor always told me. Because, like, my son would go through phases where he wouldn't eat. And
Okay.
I'd be like,
They'll
is
figure
he
it
all
out.
right? And he's like, he'll eat when he's hungry. You know?
It makes
I'm like,
sense.
okay.
I don't think they sat
Also,
down for 3 meals a day in the caveman times. I think.
I fed my kids, like, constantly. But, like, I just always had food around for them so they could just kind of graze and eat when they were hungry. But I was also, like, I'm a health nut. Like, I'm not as bad now. But when they were young, I was so weird about they never had candy. They never had soda. They'd never had, like, any of these foods.
I don't think it takes being a health nut to realize, like if I give my daughter candy, like, it is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, it's
like
just
Halloween.
it's literally it's Halloween this week, and, like, she had her trunk or treat this week. She's like, can I have one treat? You give her a piece of chocolate, and, like, she goes crazy, and it's not, like, an act. Like, there's a direct, like,
for sure.
I'm like, and this is, like, our diet, like.
And these kids eat so much candy.
Yeah.
I was reading this article that says it takes, like, weeks to get completely out of their system.
Sure.
Like, it messes up their brain
Well, it's
for a
frying
while.
them because you look
Yeah.
at, like, the sugar content that's in, like,
So-
fruit, and it's like 30x in a Jolly Rancher,
Yeah.
and you're like,
So I told my
oh.
kids I was going to hand out, like, I'm handing out glow bracelets. They have, like Jesus is a light that shines or something on them.
There you go.
And then I have, like, glow necklaces. And then I have, I was giving out, like, little mandarin oranges and stuff like that.
The glow thing's
My
a good
kids are
idea,
like,
like
Mom, you're like, nobody wants to come to our house because you don't have candy. So I did buy candy this year because I don't want the kids to not come to our house.
But they don't know until they're at your house. That's
then
the
we're-
best part of every Halloween. And then next year, they're going to show up going, well, maybe she's got it this year. I don't think it keeps the kids away. You just got to put an empty
My
bowl.
kids, I think, are
All you got to
embarrassed.
do, maybe I'm the Grinch of Halloween here, but maybe you just
I am the Grinch this Halloween.
No, just put out a huge empty bowl, and then all the kids will think, oh, like somebody already took it all.
But I want to give them something. But I want to be a good influence. So we're doing chili dogs and Frito pie and baked potatoes with chili so that they have some substance to eat. Like they can grab a
I
hot
feel like
dog
that's for,
and
like,
go.
the drunk parents, you know? I feel like it's a good
I hope
pit
I don't
stop
have any
for
of
that.
those. No, but I feel like the kids, at least if they eat like a hot dog, because I feel like these parents, a lot of them, like take their kids out trick or treating, they haven't fed them dinner,
Not
and
us.
they're probably hungry. And so I'm like, if I feed them at least, they're getting some nutrition. If I have little oranges out there, they can grab
Oh, I
oranges
like it. I
and
think
bottled
it's
water
generous.
for the kids, you know.
Yeah.
Because when you go, I've been trick or treating a lot more than I would ever have even thought in my whole life. That it's just becomes exhausting. I'm like, I am old. I can't walk the neighborhood anymore. Now my kids are finally old enough to go on their own.
Yeah.
This will be the first year that we're letting them.
Do you feel pretty good about that? Like, what age are you like,
yeah,
good luck?
they're 11 and up, and they have their groups of friends.
Okay.
You know that they're going with, and they're just going right there in the neighborhood.
I just look back, though.
But where we're at, all the kids are out riding their
Yeah,
bikes
they're
and
good.
running around all the time. My son bought a $600 electric scooter with his own money.
There you go.
So he could ride it to school, which
What's
is
he do
3
for
miles
work?
away. At first, I was like, no. But then all the kids were doing it. I'm like, I can't be the hovering parent. I'm not going to make him miss out because I'm terrified.
But I look back, like, I'm thinking about, like, my 4.5-year-old daughter now, and I'm like, you can't go anywhere. The neighborhood boy tried to kiss her the other day, and I'm already ready to, like, get in trouble.
Yeah,
So-
she's still young.
Yeah, she's young, but like, I also, so Halloween, growing up in River Plantation, I remember we went with, like, we were probably trick-or-treating with, like, 12 guys. We were maybe, I would call it, like, 13, and one of our friends thought it would be good to go as a gangster, and so he brought an airsoft gun with no orange tip on it, and it's dark out, and we're walking in the road, and a car comes around the corner, and he does the whole, hey, guys, watch this, back to the 13-year-olds feeling cool. Well, he points it at the car
They do dumb
to
stuff.
say, hey, give me all the candy. Well, we can't see that car's a cop. And so he's pointing a gun at a cop, a gun with no orange tip, dressed as a gangster on Halloween in the middle of the night. This cop gets out, karate chops his arm so hard the gun shatters on the ground, throws him over the hood of the car, cuffs him. takes him home. We're all chiming in. I say we, some of my more vocal friends, I was a little quieter because I kind of had a pretty good head on my shoulders. It's like I'm going to be with the group that pointed the gun, but I didn't point the gun. I'm going to have fun, but not do that. And anyways, as he's driving off, we go back to his house. It takes us like 45 minutes to walk there. Well, we see the cop parked outside. Dylan, my buddy, got put in for the night. And, well, we're walking by the cop. He's got his window down. And one of our friends, I won't name him because he's still here in Conroe, he's like, that dumb cop, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, the cop's window's down. Cop comes up to him now. I'm like, dude, did you not learn from the first guy? The cop ends up finding out who he is, and the cop just drives to his house before he can get there to talk to his parents. It was nice. It was pretty good. So those are the good old days. So good luck to your kids on Halloween. Ours aren't old enough yet. We'll have to worry about that. But it's got to be a tough toss-up at your kid's age where, like, I'm the way I am today because my mom
Halloween
gave me
does scare me a
so
little
much
bit.
freedom.
People get a little crazy on Halloween. There's egging and all kinds of stuff. I mean,
and even beyond that, it's really just, I'm more worried about, like, it's just busier these days, like cars driving around, zipping around. And
well, last year in Woodforest, some middle school boys were attacked by some high schoolers, and they trashed his $1,800 electric bike. And
see, that's the kind of stuff you're just like, kids are mean. It's like, come on, guys.
And these were like 17-year-olds, beating up middle schoolers. I'm like, So yeah, that kind of stuff does bother me. But my kids, I've tried to school them and say, hey, just run, get away. Don't try to be like, cool guy. But sometimes my kids have had their run-ins. They're boys. I mean, they just do. You can't avoid it. And I'm a girl, and I'm just like, why? Why are they so violent? Why do they want to beat each other up all the time?
I think they need to. It's part of it.
That's what my husband says, but I don't like it.
You're not, I mean, respectfully, you're not raising girls.
Yeah.
You're raising boys.
I mean, I had to get in a couple of fights. Unfortunately, I had to defend myself too. But
that's different. I think the boys will throw down.
But girls are like catty.
Yeah, I was like, y'all are mean like forever.
Verbally.
Like guys will punch. Like we would.
Y'all just get in a fight and get over it.
I got in a couple fights in high school, but one of them in particular, I didn't really know the guy. We weren't supposed to fight, but the guy that was supposed to fight didn't fight, and then it deferred to me, and I did. And then like the next day, we like made up, and we were like buds after that.
Nice.
Because we like respected each other,
Yeah.
Get hit in the face, you hit somebody else, you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, the bullying is crazy now.
That's different.
Social media and stuff.
The internet. Yeah, people won't say it to your face like they used to.
Right.
They'll hide behind the keyboard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My husband calls them telephone tough guys.
Okay.
I
haven't heard that one. I heard keyboard warriors, but telephone tough guys is...
Well, they'll talk smack to you on the phone, but...
I don't even know if they'll do that. They're just like roasting each other. They're just like crafters.
Well, I think in our generation it was telephone tough guy. We didn't have all that.
Yeah. Using T9 to like try to get off a short text.
I didn't even have cell phones.
You didn't even get to
when
T9.
I was,
well,
yeah.
at some point you got to T9.
I was so excited when I got a pager when I was a senior. It was
okay. Yeah, we're off a little. I got my first cell phone, the flip phone, Sprint flip phone at like 7th grade, 8th grade.
Oh yeah.
iPhones
that
were
wasn't even
college.
invented when I was in 7th. There wasn't even cell phones invented. We didn't even have the internet until I was in
aging
high
yourself.
school.
Nobody knows.
Everybody knows. I talk about it a lot. I don't care. I'm a Generation X. I know that sounds crazy.
I guess I'm a millennial. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's different. So it's X, Y, Z.
Okay.
Millennial is a term for being born during the first technology period. So, like, some people will call us Xennials because we're the end of Generation X, but we're also the beginning of millennial.
Cutoff? When's X?
So,
to
Generation
Y?
X ends in 84.
Okay.
And then 84 to
So I'm Y.
XY.
Okay.
You're Y.
Nobody refers to us as
And
that.
now
They
there's
just call us
Z.
millennials, right?
Gen Z.
Yeah, I know Gen Z, but nobody says Gen Y.
They just say millennial.
millennial, yeah.
Because that was the era of, like,
That's probably
technology.
Me. Probably an older millennial.
But it overlaps with the other,
I got
you see what I'm saying?
They're not direct. Yeah, yeah.
So it's like a different term.
Sure.
The other ones are actually like years.
Actually, Gen
millennial
Y.
is just
Okay.
saying during. It's kind of like the revolution, the industrial revolution, right? It was the millennial
It's
revolution.
like a time period, yeah, separate time period. I got
So they call us Xennials. We're kind of like that special.
I know Gen Z for sure. It's really funny. All the TikToks are like when your Gen Z editor gets a hold of your footage. That's what I'm worried my guys are going to do. But I think it would be funny.
I feel like he's my gen. Are you my gen?
He's a grandpa.
I am looking forward to having grandchildren one day because that'll be fun. But at
You
the
should
same
ask him
time,
about it after the show.
it makes me feel like my friends are. I have friends.
He doesn't actually have a granddaughter or a kid, by the way.
My husband's niece, she just had her first baby.
Okay.
So that means his brother just had his first.
His oldest daughter's pregnant.
Grandchild. Yeah, it happens. I hope that I'm like 50 before I have a grandchild, but that's probably not going to happen. It would be nice if I was at least 50.
I feel like it flips at a certain point.
But we have a
be
college
the younger...
student right now, so
Yeah.
you
Where
never
we're
know.
at?
Texas Tech.
Tech. Okay.
Yeah, we played them this weekend. My husband graduated from TCU.
Okay.
So I grew up a Longhorns fan, but I always loved TCU. I always have had just
Really?
this heart for TCU. Well, I'm a Christian. I love frogs. Purple's one of my favorite
See,
colors.
we gig frogs. I'm an Aggie, so
Yeah. I like all Texas teams, to be honest. My mom's whole family was Texas Tech. My husband's family is real Texas Tech. My granddaddy went there. He played basketball there.
Okay.
My mom's like, you can't not
Do you
like Texas
follow
Tech.
college football though?
I do.
This year's our year.
Yeah.
The
Well, all
Aggies-
Texas teams. Like this
the
weekend
Aggies just
was a
dusted
great
LSU,
weekend.
though. It was a great
We're like
weekend for a lot of
That
teams.
A&M game was insane.
It was amazing.
Did you see the
I watched-
TCU game?
No, I was watching the Aggies.
Well, you got to go back and forth, but the TCU game was incredible.
Who'd
There
they
was an
play?
84-yard run.
Who did they play?
They fumbled the ball. They played Texas Tech. So it was my stepson against my husband.
Okay.
So it
you
was
had
really-
a family rivalry.
yeah.
I appreciate the if you're truly like
And then UT
affiliated
played
with it.
Vanderbilt and won.
barely by 3 points.
Does it matter?
It
They
does
won.
matter when they're talking as much trash as they are to the Aggies, and we're both 6-1 going into that final game. We're going to go in undefeated. We're 5-0 in the SEC, and they're still ranked 5, and we're
We
ranked
like
10.
Aggie. My son bought an Aggies hat this weekend.
Well, good for him. He's a smart kid.
But he has UT stuff. He has TCU stuff. He has Texas Tech stuff. He has
He's
Aggie
just figuring
stuff.
it out.
He
But
loves
once you
Texas.
go, see, that's the best part about college sports.
He wants to go to Texas State or
Well,
TCU.
I know why he wants to go to Texas State, and I don't blame him. It's a great place to go float the river.
Yeah,
Very
it's a
gorgeous.
beautiful- It's also
Beautiful
inexpensive.
place. I know why you
compared
want
to
him to go
other
there.
schools.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him being back home. Where I'm from, I have a lot of family and friends there that can help him out. So I'm okay with that. I feel comfortable. It's not too far. I would love for him to go to TCU. My husband is.
That's not cheap.
No, but he's looking at doing the ranch management program, which is what my husband did. It's a
Okay.
9-month program. We'll see what happens. He really says he wants to be a rancher, but then I don't know. Right now he's 16, so does he really want to do the work right now? No. Does he see himself doing that in 10 years? Maybe. It's hard work.
It's hard work.
It's a very hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the hardest work you'll ever do.
It's real work.
Yeah. These are, and farming is literally listed number 1 most dangerous jobs in America or in the world.
Because of all the chemicals.
No farming accidents.
Just huge.
And chemicals.
Yeah.
But the farming accidents, I mean, there's just all kinds of farming accidents, like tractors and
Sure.
working on them. And I don't know.
I think
My husband's told me some stories about times he's almost died growing up because he grew up on a small industrial farm. And I'm like,
I believe
scares me. You're out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, you're not. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have help. He graduated with 16 people, and he had the big class, out in Paint Rock.
That's
Paint
out there.
Paint Rock Indians. You know where they painted the rocks?
No.
Kickapoo Creek and all
Okay.
that stuff.
Where in Texas is that?
It's by San Angelo.
Okay.
So it's like right on the edge of the hill country.
So my buddy.
My bad.
My buddy, my friend I told you about, that was the ladies' man in Austin, is from Sweetwater.
Oh, I lived up there for a little
Okay,
bit. Built
yeah.
energy windmills.
So he is like from Sweetwater through
So
and through. His whole family's Sweetwater. So
Yeah.
he's like a good old
I went up there
West
for 6
Texas
months.
pretty boy.
Worked on energy windmills. Worked 80 hours a week.
They're just
saved
killing
all my
birds up
money.
there?
And then I went to Austin so I could go to college. I just saved all my money and then went to Austin. I was really...
When were they doing windmills out there? How long ago?
They started probably 2000.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason I was thinking it was more recent than that, but now they're all broken. Yeah.
Now they're broken.
Now they're broken.
Now there's just
Sitting there. Yeah.
The farm, you can see 30 miles away, there's all the red lights at night. The
Oh, that's
blinking.
what's weird. Yeah, you see, it just looks like this.
It's weird. You can't see them
Weird
during the day.
apocalyptic.
But at night, you can see all the red lights.
All off in
It's
the
crazy.
distance.
It's crazy that you can see 30 miles away.
That's
In the
so
woodlands,
cool.
you can't even see the sunset.
I'm never at more peace than when I'm in West Texas.
So one day, I'm going to buy some land out there, and I'm going to have teepees and yurts, because we're going to retire out there when the kids graduate.
Where do you know where specifically?
Out close to the farm, probably.
Okay. Yeah, so I've spent a lot of time in like Marfa and like Big Bend and Terrango and all
We
that.
got married in Big Bend.
Really?
At Santa Elena Canyon.
No way.
We spent our
It's gorgeous
honeymoon
there.
up in
Like Marathon,
Marfa
and yeah.
Alpine and all that stuff.
So then, okay, this is one of my favorite places in the world.
It's just,
and for those that
you
haven't been out
cannot
there,
explain
I know.
this to
If you haven't
people.
been there, and I've got like we go to a bunch of real estate conferences, and there's one girl that we met at these conferences that like really wants to go, and I'm like trying to explain it, and I'm like, you just gotta go. But
You
so
just
I
have
had
to
my
go.
bachelor party in Marfa.
It's a great time to go is like this time of the year.
Well, it's also the safest place because there's one cop in the whole town, and I was like, if I'm gonna bring my friends to just have a bachelor party, like where's the safest place for us to
Where
go?
you're not going to get
like
arrested?
the ratio.
I know somebody who got arrested there.
Well, so what's funny is we checked into our Airbnb. We hadn't done anything. We weren't rowdy at all. And then within 30 minutes, the cop shows up, just I think to like flex on us. He's like, yeah, we had a noise complaint. Just wanted to introduce myself to you. But I'm like, we haven't made a single noise. You're just bigging us.
They have nothing better to
Yeah.
do.
So anyways, but we ended up having the time of our lives.
And they're a super tight community.
Well, and yeah, and Marfa's cool. I've spent a lot of time there. I actually broke down in Marfa. My buddy bought like a 1980s Nissan pickup in California, and he was going to drive it back to Houston. He's from here, and we're driving into Marfa, and like 20 minutes outside of town, the sun's setting, and his battery's like dying in his truck, and his lights just start to dim. So we run out of headlights. Well, we'll get to that. So
It's happened to me before.
The headlights like dim, and anyways, we coast into town. So I'm broken down. Well, I have to get back for work Monday. So I actually hitchhiked from Marfa back to Austin. So now I didn't do it in the conventional way. I went in. They've got like one coffee shop in Marfa, and I just like asked her. I was like, anybody driving to Austin? And I met this lady named Mary. So I call her Mary Marfa to remember her name, like Mary Martha. But at Mary Marfa, and anyway, she gave me a ride all the way home. She was a real estate broker from Austin that does
How
work.
convenient.
It's pretty convenient. I don't know if she was stoked
A lot
to
of
give me
people
a
from
ride,
Austin go to Marfa. I've met a
Yeah.
lot. Like we ran into people there,
and New York randomly, like
yeah,
the whole art
New Jersey
scene. Yeah, but
very artsy there. They have all the art galleries in
yeah.
Marfa.
I love it out there. I almost stepped on a
That
rattlesnake.
hotel that they filmed The Giant in. Did you go in there?
Is that Pisano or which? I don't know.
The Giant with
Is
Elizabeth.
it kind of like a Spanish style hotel? Because there's
kind of.
Hotel Pisano is the one that's
Yeah.
I think probably where they filmed
Yeah.
it. There's that. And the Gage Hotel, I think in Marathon, is really cool.
Yeah.
You been to that one?
No, I
Okay.
haven't been. We were gonna go to Marathon, but we never
It's
made
a
it.
stop. You don't like
It's
stay
got the
there.
little Prada store, right?
No. Marathon's on the way. So Prada, you got to go like back up north. I don't know my streets, but kind of back up northwest. I think as you're headed to like the Fort Davis Mountains.
Oh, you're
So
right.
Have you done McDonald Observatory and all that?
I haven't.
Go there.
We need to go
Yeah,
there.
go do that. They'll go on like a night, look at their schedule, and they'll have different telescopes set up in different spots. And so you just walk up and they'll have it like, here's Jupiter, here's whatever.
Right. Have you seen the Marfa Lights?
So we went to the Marfa Lights, and like we saw, talking to locals, we saw what people get confused as the Marfa Lights, which is like a road in Mexico going through this pass, but it wasn't like dancing lights on the horizon. It was like a consistent like.
Weird.
I don't think it was what they were talking about.
Right.
But have you seen a UFO?
I saw a UFO in Big Bend in 2006. That was my first time to Big Bend.
Okay.
It was insane.
Was it
was
nighttime?
far. It was like this light far away, like
Oh,
moving
just
around like a
zinging.
spaceship. It
Really?
was like, what is that? And nothing could move that fast.
High up or lower or?
It was low enough where it shouldn't have been a plane,
Sure.
but it was still higher than like high-rise buildings.
Oh, so it wasn't super high. It wasn't like 100,000 feet. It was.
But
like,
it was moving around like crazy. And I was with friends. We were
year,
sober.
What year was this?
2006.
So that's like pre-drone. Like, because these days you got drones, right?
Yeah, this was not a drone. There's
Yeah.
no way a drone could move that fast that far and move that way. It was crazy.
Was it close or was it way off?
It was
if it
like
was close moving.
It was like a firefly movement.
Okay.
You know how fireflies can kind of
Yeah.
like move fast.
I mean, that's what that's the. I think the confusing
there's
thing
no
about
way
the whole
it was
phenomenon is.
I've had some experiences. I'm one of those people, like, I'm very like skeptic.
Sure.
But then I was talking to my great uncle about it, and he was in the Air Force, and he was stationed at Area 51 and all these different places. And he was like, he's 85 years old, and he just doesn't care anymore. And he's like, very seriously. This is a man who reads his Bible every day.
Sure.
Strict Southern
Yeah.
Baptist, reads
Sure.
his Bible
He
every
reads
single
Ezekiel.
day. Lives in
Got flaming
Abilene,
chariots.
Texas.
Yeah.
You know, these are people that are totally skeptics of that kind of stuff. And he's like, they are real.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the spacecraft. I've seen the bodies.
He's seen the bodies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He's like, they have them. And he's like, they're trying to replicate the technology. And that's why they don't want anybody to know, because if people know that they have it, they'll try to get the technology.
He's seen the bodies?
That's what he said. He's not alive anymore.
You
He
just
told me
covering
that in
for him right
2004 when I was working in Sweetwater in the energy windmills.
now? Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. And then I have a Bigfoot story. If you listen to my first podcast, it's about Bigfoot.
I'm way more into aliens than the Bigfoot thing, though.
I was not a Bigfoot believer until I moved to Montgomery, Texas.
I know you can get into the whole interdimensionality of them. Maybe I don't think they're like a gorilla in the forest, but the UFOs is a more.
They live in the bottom of the ocean, he said.
There's a lot of.
And
stuff
he
that
said
could
that's
live
where
down
the
there.
Alaskan Triangle and the Bermuda Triangle. I mean, he knew so much information. It was I can't replicate what he said.
You don't
It was
need
so
to.
long
I'll
ago.
listen to it,
It
but-
was 20 years ago when he told me that.
Wait, who?
My great uncle.
Oh, this isn't the guy that was on the podcast. This is somebody else.
About the aliens.
Oh, the aliens live in.
Yeah.
Oh,
But then the Bigfoot, I had an experience at my house in Montgomery, and then this scientist came to the Lions Club here, the Conroe Noon Lions Club. You ever been? You're a Conroe guy?
I know.
It's like 330 members
I
there.
know. I've been kind of like, once you're in, you're not. You don't get out. I'm just easing into everything here. I got
So fun.
building. I got some good connections here.
It's a fun activity.
I mean,
we help the community and we have fun doing it. We do a lot of volunteering.
Not opposed. I just haven't been.
It's fun people. It's a lot of older people, but there's a lot of young people in there too. There's a lot of realtors in there and insurance people.
Maybe
and
some aliens.
Maybe. There's aliens everywhere. I wonder about sometimes, the lizard people and the flat earthers and.
These are all different rabbit holes. I will say we were just on this trip in Jamaica.
I'm assuming you listen to a lot of Joe Rogan.
I listen to a lot of everything. So
my husband listens to all the Joe
I think
Rogan
my generation,
stuff.
like, we take in a lot of information digitally, and I'm always on the go, so I'm always podcasting. But I was with a Delta pilot this past week, and we were at dinner, and I was talking with him, and I was like, all right, dude, I got to ask, like, craziest stuff you've seen. He's got pretty high seniority. And he was describing, he said it's probably happened a couple of times, but he says nothing on the radar. He said lights above him. They're flying at 30 to 40,000 feet. These are at 60,
Yeah.
70, 80. Lights are dancing on the
Any
horizon.
pilot you talk to
he
will tell
says,
you a story.
he goes, he's like, and look, nothing, nobody can explain it, but it's very common. It's happened on a couple times. He's always with different co-pilots for it. He'll ask them, they'll be like, we've seen similar things too. But essentially what he saw was dancing lights well above their normal, like, altitude.
Does he live here?
He's
I
out
know
of Atlanta. He's out of Atlanta.
I know
But-
a Delta guy out
Well,
no, maybe he's a United guy.
Well, so what was interesting is right after you told me that, I've gone deep down the Twitter rabbit hole. I never had Twitter until Trump got shot, and I was like, now's the time to download it, if ever. So I downloaded it then, and now I'm like way in Twitter. Because you see, like, I never understood
Real
Twitter.
raw footage.
Well, the thing, that's what's so crazy about it. It's
not-
the best
it's not
platform.
filtered.
Because it's unfiltered. You're trusting any news network, and it gets kind of upvoted or downvoted. And then if something is going to get debunked, it gets debunked right there.
Yeah.
So
I just don't like that it's so unfiltered that there's a lot of inappropriate stuff on there.
Mine isn't showing me a bunch of that necessarily, or maybe I'm just, like, I don't know, desensitized. But Charlie Kirk, who's like the far kind of right wing, like, goes to all the college campus and debates students, which I do appreciate. Open debate. Not many people do that these days, and he's brave enough to do it every day. But anyways, he's on a private jet, and he got invited up to the cockpit, and this is this week. Like, this is while he's going to Trump's rallies. He's flying from one rally to another, and he's in the cockpit, and has them, and they say, hey, come look at this. And they're flying at 40,000 feet. And I don't remember if it was the video or just the audio, but he's playing all of it. They're at 40,000 feet, and there's lights at 70 or 80,000. And he's like, and they're not satellites, because like Starlink goes in chains of like
Right.
15, all moving in the same trajectory. And they're all sitting in there, and he's like, what is this? And it's exactly what my pilot friends described to me this week at dinner. And then I looked at Twitter
And then you
last
see it
night,
again.
and Charlie Kirk is talking about it, and they're flying over Roswell. They were flying through New Mexico in the Roswell area when it happens, and they're at like
Makes you
70.
wonder what's over there that they keep going over.
Yeah, I don't know. I flew over Roswell 2 months ago. I looked at the modern day commercial jets show you like exactly where you're at, and I looked out, and it's like, oh, Roswell, and I look out, and I was like, all right, now I'm going to look out the window for the next 5 minutes of his daytime, see what I can see. But on our Big Bend trip with my wife before we had kids, we had a little 16-foot Jayco. We pulled it and we went to Roswell, looked for aliens, did that. Went
That's
down to Big Bend.
awesome.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm a
My
big
kind of
fan.
people.
Yeah, you give me West Texas, I'm signed up. I just don't get to go. It's so far, and with little kids. It's
Well,
like
one day I'll have a little commune out there. You can come visit us.
so we stayed at one in Terlingua, and
Yeah, we did, too.
Okay, so Terlingua Ranch. Did y'all stay?
No,
out?
we stayed at this there were like these adobe houses.
Okay.
Were
they in the
on
ghost
the side
town?
of this mountain, and they just looked straight into the park.
Oh,
kind
cool.
of.
But do you know what Terlingua Ranch is? It's a huge, like, everybody has like 40-acre tract. So it's called Terlingua Ranch,
Yeah,
but
it's
this huge
like when you're coming into town, it's on the left, correct?
Well, if it's close to the ghost town, it's not Terlingua Ranch. So, like, if you stayed within 5-10 minutes of the ghost town,
before you get in the town on the left.
so pretty
correct?
close or no?
I don't know.
No. Okay, no
I
worries.
don't really know
Out
where
there,
it
you
is.
just kind of forget because like close is still
I'll
an
have to look
hour
it up.
drive. But there's this lady that has a place in Terlingua Ranch, and at the time we stayed, it's grown a lot since then. She had a couple Airstreams. She'd save up enough money, buy a new one. She bought 40 acres with a mountain, and she had a donkey to keep away mountain lions. Mm-hmm. That was kind of cool. But yeah,
And
we stayed in.
snakes. They'll keep away snakes too. They'll
Really?
protect chickens.
So she's like, we've heard him just ee-aw doing his thing before.
Yeah, there's a lot of rattlesnakes out there.
So I was 8 miles up the South Rim, yeah, at Big Bend. You hike up to, what is it,
Yeah.
Emery Peak?
I've
and
hiked
then-
that.
So you hike that, but then from there, it's like a 16-mile loop and then back
Right.
down. So we were going to go.
Did y'all camp in the woods at all?
My brother and I had our packs, and we left early in the morning. So we were at like the top of the peak by like 9 a.m. And we're like, dude, why don't we just run? We'll do the whole thing. We won't camp up out here, and we'll go to the bar in Terlingua, the Starlight Bar, tonight. So we drop our packs in a bear thing, take like a small pack of like just water, and we like trail ran. I guess it was like I think it was the whole thing was 16 miles. So anyways, we're kind of trail running, and you just kind of zone out, and all of a sudden, like, I look down, and my left foot's down, my right foot's in the air, and as I look down, there's a rattlesnake. I'm moving pretty quick. There's a rattlesnake in between my legs. It wasn't coiled up. It was going across, but it was directly under me. It wasn't, like, close. So I jump, and I turn around. I'm like, Jack, stop. Yeah, well, we're 8 miles. I'm at the farthest place away. I'm 8 miles from, like, I'd die. Like, you die up there. Your heart's racing. You get
There's
a
no
vitamin.
hospitals.
You're done. You're done. No phone service. No nothing. Anyways, luckily, I didn't get bit, but that was the closest I've been to a rattlesnake. Was above it.
And there's bears.
I didn't see bears.
We saw a bear when I was there in 2006.
That's cool. They're not huge.
They're
not
little
like
black
Yeah,
bears.
they're not like. I mean, you don't want to. I
If
don't
you
want to
we
see a
camped
bear
there
ever.
for 5 days up in the mountains.
Oh, cool. So you went up.
We
and
went all over.
That's nice.
Everywhere.
That view is
No
insane
shower.
up there. Ooh.
We bathed in the streams,
That's nice.
Got water. We had a water filter.
It's like deceptively green up there, though. That's
Yeah.
the thing that's wild. You're just out in the middle of the desert.
Did you go to the window?
It's just this oasis. I didn't do that hike because that's from Chisos Basin, but it's like a close little mile down, mile back. I think.
It's really cool.
I didn't do that one.
It's scary.
Oh, okay.
The lady's like, oh yeah, be careful because people fall a lot and
Really?
die. And I was like, it's very slippery and there's water coming. And this lady was like trying to get a really good picture and she got real
They
close.
played
And
it
I'm like,
off to
lady,
me.
stop.
They played it off to me
What
like
are you
that's the
doing?
shortest hike.
Please don't die while we're here. I don't want to experience that. But my husband and I took a picture and I was like, we were like 3 feet from the edge, but I was still scared because it's so slippery.
Yeah.
The rock, where the
I'm not
water's.
trying to die on a hiking trip.
But it is beautiful, the window. When you look out,
Okay.
it's incredible. It's those things you can't
Yeah.
describe it.
It's just there.
And then there's the balance rock that's kind of scary. It looks like my husband's standing underneath it and I'm taking pictures of him, but I'm just thinking if that thing
If
falls
it
on
falls,
him.
you're toast. Yeah.
But it's been there for 1,000 years or who knows how long, but it's just this big round egg rock sitting between two rocks just randomly.
Have you been to White Sands just
Yes.
across the border?
Oh, yeah.
So
do you know that there's footprints?
That's what I was going to
and stuff?
say. You're listening to the same podcast as me. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. We took our kids for Christmas in 2018.
Do they have them preserved? Like, did you see them or no? You didn't know at the time.
No,
Yeah,
I looked them up though, and I
because
was
Graham
like,
Hancock
this
was
is-
talking about.
I love Graham.
Yeah, so then we're on the same wavelength. So he's talking about those, and I was like, no way. But I thought that was super cool that they're saying, and they're dating it like 20,000 years ago.
I had to re-sign up for Netflix so I could watch his show.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Which one is it? Or what's
It's,
it called? It's some ancient something.
I don't remember.
I'll look up Graham. I want to watch all those, but pretty interesting that they're showing that like North America might have had like inhabitants prior to like Europe, which is kind of crazy. They
Yeah.
said they have mammoth footprints alongside human footprints
That
in
is
the
correct.
same. That's cool.
With the strides and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, nice. I want to go to White Sands. I know a bunch of people that do like engagement photos there,
Yeah.
and it's like I guess
It's fun to
the thing
take. You
do.
got to take your kids when they get a little older. You take those like sled, those like discs that you can go in the snow.
Yeah.
They take we took a bunch of those. And then those boogie boards from the beach, we took those and they just go down the sand dunes.
I'm just going to buy an RV here pretty soon and do it.
We used to own an RV.
I'm waiting for him to get old enough. We've kind of done the phase without kids. I think we might redo the phase just for like a trip. But like I might do like a month, like just a full on.
Just take a tour.
Yeah, I want to do it like every summer. I'd like to block off like a month.
I want to go to Utah. There's the state parks in Utah. I mean, the national parks in Utah are supposed to be amazing. I haven't been. And then my husband went to Glacier State Park, and he's like, it's incredible.
We just had some clients. They are just retired, and we got a rabbit.
Yeah.
They got an RV, and they're retiring, and they're just going everywhere. And I'm like so jealous. I'm living vicariously through them.
Yeah,
So.
I've totally One of these days.
We
have a lot of kids and a lot of activities. It makes it hard to do
Send
anything.
them to college and then, do your thing.
7 more years.
It's not long.
6.5.
That's not long.
6.5 years. I'm counting down. Like, I'm going to be at Cynthia Wood's pavilion in our U-Haul, like, ready to leave when they graduate. Walk stage. Bye.
You go. See ya.
See ya.
Just be in your RV.
Yeah. We might do that. I don't know. We haven't decided what we're going to do yet. We're probably going to go to the farm first.
Sounds like you're going to die. We're going to the farm.
I'm excited.
That's good.
I love West Texas, too.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Dick's waving at me. But it was really great to have you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And what is your YouTube called?
So it's Living in Houston, Texas, but the easier thing to do is just type in Conroe, Texas, type in the Woodlands, Texas, type in whatever your suburb is you're listening to this from. See if we've got a video there. You'll see my face on the thumbnail. And then if you are thinking about moving, we help people do everything, buy, sell, lease. Yeah. We're right here in the middle of downtown Conroe. We've got 40 agents. We cover all of Houston and Dallas.
Your office.
And come by, take a photo with our mural. You're welcome to. Free parking for table at Maidley if you ever want to come grab a bite and come say hi.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your office.
Free
Donna.
parking for Catfish Festival.
Yeah, you have a Donna from like Suits.
I do have a Donna
chick
from Suits. I'm going to shut up now. But
I like her.
Yeah, Donna from Suits is partly why she was hired.
That office turned out really nice.
Thank you.
Anyway, well, thank you for coming today. We'll
See
have
ya.
you back.